Akademiks can't ride no wave.
So AfroMan has like a lawsuit, and I want to get into it a little bit because I heard it's some interesting shit. He got sued for defamation. Let me see. What's the deal? What is the deal with this AfroMan lawsuit? I think he was sued by cops because the cops are claiming he defamed them. And he's saying, I didn't defame y'all. I basically used my artistic expression to liken y'all to whatever. But that's not defamation, which, again, I'm going to be honest with you. All defamation cases having to do with music, they're always going to reference that Drake-Kendrick Lamar thing because that was dismissed. Right? Like, there's something on the books that says if you say some stuff in music, it could be passable and not up for defamation. Hey, let me see.
His vest that he...
Oh, he used them for his music video. AfroMan music video. Okay, so it look like he probably used some body cam stuff. Oh, so 2 years ago, he puts out this video. Will you help repair my door? Okay, I'm gonna mute it, but it looks like this is police coming into his house or raiding his stuff. Okay, it looked like they were executing a search warrant. They were doing a lot. And looked like he probably beat the case. Huh, interesting. I know AfroMan only from the Because I Got High thing. He also put up, oh, he used some even more footage for another song. Oh, wow. So that's why they're suing him. That's why they're suing him. Okay, that makes sense. Let me see if I can get a breakdown on what the fuck is going on. He's really in court. He wore all those basically wore a United States suit. Here we go.
Rapper AfroMan turned a police raid on his Ohio home into a viral music video, and now a jury is deciding whether that was protected speech or defamation, which is either the most American legal case of all time or a preview of how quickly going viral can turn into getting sued. You see, back in 2022, sheriff's deputies kicked in his door on a drug warrant, presumably expecting to find something dramatic, and instead found absolutely nothing. No drugs, no charges, just a very awkward exit, and unfortunately for them, a house full of cameras capturing the entire thing. Now, most people would be annoyed, maybe file a complaint, maybe tell a story at a bar. But AfroMan did what any modern content creator would do, which is say, perfect, we're monetizing this, and turn the footage into a music video called Lemon Pound Cake, which then spread all over the internet because, shockingly, people enjoy watching authority figures look slightly ridiculous. So now 7 deputies are suing him, claiming defamation and invasion of privacy, arguing that the video turned them into viral punchlines and exposed them to threats.
I'm with AfroMan on that. You know, when officers pull up on you, they have body cams. Those body cams are the subject or could be the subject of a Freedom of Information Act request. A lot of times that could serve to embarrass someone. It could serve to expose someone. It could serve to defame someone. So why would people who are public servants, which are police officers, feel they're protected that if they go run up into someone's house, whether warranted or not, and that person wants to use the video while they're working as a public servant, want to use the video of them doing so in their music video, why would that be defamation? So I'm actually on AfroMan's side with this.
Which is where this stops being funny and starts being legally very interesting. Welcome to Why It's Trending Daily. I'm Hank. This is where I break down the stories everyone's suddenly Googling, and I explain why they matter. Because what this actually comes down to is whether you can take a real interaction with police, publish it, profit from it, and still be protected, or whether there's some invisible line where commentary becomes liability. AfroMan, backed by the ACLU, is basically saying this is the First Amendment doing its job, while the deputies are saying, yeah, but not like that. The judge already tossed some of their claims, essentially reminding everyone that public officials don't get a reputation force field, but the defamation and privacy claims are still alive, which means the jury gets to decide how uncomfortable you're allowed to make people in power. If AfroMan wins, expect a wave of content as accountability, where every door knock becomes potential footage. If the deputies win, congratulations. Lawsuits just became the new way to kill viral criticism before it's...
Yeah, freedom of speech is definitely one of the main things. This is probably going to be a Supreme Court case, ironically. Definitely is going to be a Supreme Court case. Probably 100% is going to be a Supreme Court case because it's about freedom of speech, the interpretation of the First Amendment, and what the duty or protections of law enforcement are. Like, again, if we think about ICE, one of the main issues people have with ICE is they're like, yo, take the fucking mask off. We don't know who's who. Like, y'all are law enforcement officers. There's no health reason for y'all to have a mask on. Y'all moving around like we can't even figure out who you are. Right? Apparently he took the stand. Did he?
You remember in your deposition when I asked you why did you bring the news when you picked up the money?
Yeah, I didn't want to get beat up or Epstein at the sheriff's station after I seen him running around my house with AR-15s. So that's why I brought the news and my attorney, so to make sure I got out of that place with my money.
You brought the news to protect you physically.
Yeah.
Yeah. You didn't bring the news because you already knew there was a miscount and you were going to make.
I didn't know nothing about the miscount. I didn't know. I figured they stole my money. They turned my cameras off. So if you turn my cameras off, you must got something bad in mind. So yeah, I'm accusing them of it. They turned my cameras off. I can't see what they're doing.
So your testimony under oath here today to these 10 jurors is that you brought the news when you picked up your money to protect.
So it looked like they were trying to find drugs. They didn't find drugs, but they seized cash because they seized it under suspicion that it could be the illicit proceeds from selling drugs. And I guess when they couldn't find any drug-related stuff, they got to give the money back. And when going to get the money, obviously, they're going to do a little inventory on how much they took. Don't know if they're going to count that accurately or count it out in front of you. But apparently when he goes to get them, he brings the news and he brings other people.
You physically from being beat up or shot by the sheriffs, right?
Yes.
Right? All right.
And they volunteered the information that the money wasn't right. That's just an extra something we found out. But I came with my attorney and the news to make sure the people running around my house with guns didn't take me into jail.
Oh, so they miscounted the money. Oh, no, they were trying to rob him. Hold on. The AfroMan police raid lawsuit explained. Yeah, we just need something quick.
Let me tell y'all about the craziest case that's going to court this week. So imagine police raiding your house on suspicion of drug trafficking and kidnapping. And while doing so, they damage your gate, break your door, seize over $5,000 in cash, and now they're suing you because you used surveillance video of the raid to make some music videos and sell some merch. Well, this is AfroMan. He used to sing that song, because I got him. Well, he is currently being sued by 7 police officers because back in August of 2022, they raided his house on suspicion of drug trafficking and kidnapping. Now, AfroMan wasn't at home when the raid happened, but his wife was, and she, plus his home security system, captured the
who did things behind the couch?
entire raid. And when it was all said and done, the officers found no evidence of drug trafficking or kidnapping. Now, after the raid, AfroMan, being the musician he is, decided to use video of the raid to make some music. That music resulted in 3 different music videos, tons of social media posts,
Why you disconnected my camera?
some merch. And because the videos featured the faces of these officers, they sued him, claiming he used their likeness without permission, invaded their privacy, and defamed them. Now, the 3 music videos.
Now, I don't think officers should have privacy while they're on the clock. They're public servants.
AfroMan made were Why You Disconnecting My Video Camera, which was released about 2 months after the raid, and it features the officers allegedly trying to disconnect his video cameras. Then there's Will You Help Repair My Door, which was released 2 months later. And in this song, AfroMan sings, Will you help me repair my gate? Will you help me repair my door? Did you find what you were looking for? Will you help me repair my gate and my door? And then there's Lemon Pound Cake, which currently has 3 million views on YouTube, and it was also released in December of 2022. And in this song, AfroMan is singing about one of the officers wanting to eat a lemon pound cake that was in his kitchen that AfroMan's mom made for him. Now fast forward to March of 2023. That's when the officers filed a civil lawsuit against AfroMan, highlighting that in addition to the music videos, AfroMan also posted dozens of clips and pictures on his Facebook, his YouTube, his Snapchat, Instagram, and TikTok. And some of the posts, which are still up, include pictures of fans wearing shirts of one of the officers standing next to Peter Griffin from Family Guy. There's also video posts of fans singing the lyrics to Lemon Pound Cake while wearing the shirts. And the officers also highlight an interview that AfroMan did with Vlad TV, where he talked about the officer wanting to eat his mom's pound cake.
At the same time, everybody understood what I was talking about when I said lemon pound cake. That's the cop on the viral video on TikTok that
Knew it was misleading and humiliating and still chose to spread the images to millions of people online, which has caused them ridicule, embarrassment, mental distress, and danger.
Well, so I think this is kind of going more in to establish what's the rights or privacy of a police officer while they're working, right? People put out body cam videos all the time, and by the way, the places and websites that put out body cam footages of incidents that they're not even party to, that usually showcase the cop's face and showcase a victim or a perpetrator, those things are actually usually monetized. So if regular body cam stuff is monetized, why are they so against this guy using his own private videoing system to showcase what the fuck happened with this raid, which might show a couple cops? So the couple cops that get showed here, that's bad, but if a cop gets showed in a body cam, it's cool. So this might be a step towards getting all body cams footages. It's almost attacking the FOIA request. Hey, you can't make money off of this. Hey, you might be a non-party to this. If you ask for these type of files, you can't do nothing with them.
The next claim is another privacy claim, and it's called unreasonable publicity given to private lives. And this one has to do with some of the posts that AfroMan made alluding to the sexual orientation of one of the officers. Specifically, the post referenced the female officer and said her voice was 3 octaves lower than AfroMan's. And then the post asked if anyone had verified the woman had a woman's part. And then in another post, AfroMan allegedly referenced family members of some of the officers and said that some of them had criminal records. And so again, the officers are arguing that none of this information concerned the public, and yet AfroMan made it public. And any reasonable...
So that's the loophole, y'all. So remember, there's a federal law, the FOIA, Freedom of Information Act, that once you start saying, putting these things out is invasion of privacy, especially if you're a police officer, you're kind of challenging the whole system, right? Now, it looks like they've kind of altered it, at least for count 4. They're saying, well, we're not going at all body cam or recorded footage of officers being in the field. The issue here is when we have to give those videos up, we edit it, which means we know what private information, no phone numbers, we'll take away faces. We're going to try to keep this as protected as possible. And for count 4, they're saying, you know what? Is it count 4? Oh, yeah. Count 4, they're saying the criminality isn't of legit concern. So anything that's not concern of the public would be like blurred out.
Person would be offended by someone
or
making this information public. And then the next claim is for defamation. And this one focuses on statements AfroMan made in either posts or videos or other places. Specifically, he said the officers stole money from him because apparently of the $5,000 that was seized from his house, 400 of it was never returned. He also said that the officers wanted to kill him and that one of the officers used to do hard drugs and steal money from traffic stops and raids. And then the final claim is actually a request that the judge stop AfroMan from posting them because, again, they are saying that all of this has damaged their reputation and embarrassed them. Now, after the lawsuit was filed, AfroMan did try to countersue them, but because they were operating in their official capacity as law enforcement officers, they are basically protected from being able to be sued. So AfroMan's lawsuit was dismissed. Okay, and then the last thing to know about this crazy case is that—
Wow, yes. So there is a, I forgot what the name of the clause is, that officers, unless you could prove that they didn't operate in their official capacity, they're protected by, what is it called when officers are protected versus civil lawsuits while working? It's called qualified immunity. Yeah. So essentially, if a cop is doing his job and he's not, going outside the rules and parameters that's set by, the state and also the code of how they deal with situations, say they end up killing somebody, you can't sue the cops themselves for wrongful death if they did their job up to par. So qualified immunity is something that allows police officers to do their job but not think that they're going to get sued every 20 seconds. Now, it's interesting in this case, they're saying qualified immunity does apply to the people or to the police for them to be sued, but it doesn't apply to, not customer. It doesn't apply to AfroMan, even though he's getting sued by the same people that have qualified immunity.
That the officers recently filed a motion asking the judge to exclude AfroMan's music videos and the videos from the raid because they're saying those are irrelevant and could confuse the jury, which is so confusing because didn't this whole thing start from the raid and the music videos? Well, it seems like the officers are trying to focus their lawsuit on the social media posts versus everything else. I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know about that one, but either way, the judge is going to have to decide if the music—
Yeah, this is going to be a huge case. I'm on AfroMan's side with this. As police officers, you guys are public servants, and I get it. Maybe you don't want somebody to take videos or pictures of you and promote it across social media in their music videos and otherwise, but respectfully, you guys are cops. Like, what do you think you're doing, a secret job? If I meet up with a cop or a cop pulls me over and he has a body cam on, the body cam, or he's wearing a body cam but it's not on, that's weird. It's weird. That doesn't say I'm doing something wrong. It says that I have an expectations of how police officers are going to carry themselves. If they're not, that's weird.
Music videos and the surveillance videos can come into the trial, so we will see how that goes. The trial starts this upcoming week, and it'll be interesting to see if the jury sides with AfroMan that this is all protected.
Yeah, I watch all. You ever watch like body cam audit? I love watching these audits, right? Look at this one.
He's outside.
Look.
Send a woman out by herself, feet from the man, to confront him. I'd stay inside, first of all. So a gal came outside and was talking to me. She didn't seem scared at all. And if she was scared, she had a funny way of showing it.
Was she an employee?
Yeah, I believe she was, yes.
Okay, well, so who called us was not an employee.
I have no control over that. So somebody called you and they said, there's a man outside taking photographs
of the bank.
Okay.
Why does she have cell phones in her pocket?
What was that?
You're not under the impression
the body
that
camera's right
crime, are you?
No, I'm saying it's suspicious behavior
Got it.
that you're standing out front of the bank.
Okay, so I guess, so these auditors will go somewhere and they want to test the literacy or the knowledge of these police officers on what the rules are for that town, that municipality, or even that state. Usually most places you have your First Amendment protects you to film in public. So if you go somewhere and you're filming and you're doing whatever, as long as it's public properties and open, usually as long as you're not impeding traffic or in the middle of the road, they're not going to stop you, right? However, people might still call the cops and be like, hey, there's this weird guy. He's standing around. He's filming stuff. Now the cops got to respond. Now, if you are just straight up with the police officer and you're telling them, hey, I'm just filming stuff, I'm practicing my First Amendment right, they're not going to, or they legally can't just push you off the premises. And it looks like that's what he's doing. Look.
There's 10,000 reasons why somebody might be standing outside of a bank recording. Okay. And I'll be frank with you, to address...
Do you have any ID on you, sir?
Sure, but
okay.
I'm not a big fan of that, though.
Do you mind handing it to me?
I do, actually, because I'm not a big fan of forfeiting my Fourth Amendment rights to placate the personal curiosity of yourself or somebody inside of a bank.
It's not of myself.
No.
I didn't just pass along and see you standing here recording and choose to stop you. You were the subject of a radio call. There's a difference there.
It's not a crime.
I'm just telling you.
All right, I'm telling you, it's not a crime.
But I can still identify who you are.
You can ask.
Deputy T. Dominguez of the Kitsap County Sheriff's Office responds to the 911 call. When she arrives, she requests Mr. Norton's identification, and he refuses to provide it, arguing that she...
Yeah, so, it differs by state. I'll give you a little bit of knowledge. Usually, most places, police could only ID you if they have reasonable suspicion. So, in their investigation of a crime, right, if they have reasonable suspicion that it's not only a crime committed, but that you are connected to a crime committed, they could ask for identification, right? Now, if they just get a random call to say, hey, there's a guy outside, he's looking weird, that's not a crime. Looking weird is not a crime. You'd have to name the crime that they feel like, so they show up, they're like, hey, what's up? What you doing? The guy, he's an auditor for the cops. So he's not doing nothing illegal, but he's testing them and he's going to start saying stuff to them like, yo, well, why do you think I did a crime? What crime did you hear? And obviously this is white people privilege, because if you black, do not do this.
He must have reasonable suspicion that he has committed a crime in order to demand identification. Unlike many other states, Washington does not have a so-called stop and identify statute that requires pedestrians to identify themselves to police officers. However, even if Washington law did require citizens to identify themselves during lawful Terry detentions, it is questionable whether the officers would have the reasonable suspicion.
Okay, so just basically, and I don't mean to go on this path of trying to figure out what's going on here, but the basic point is this. Cops get recorded by auditors, by surveillance, by whatever. They're trying to make a big deal of this one situation, and the big deal essentially is caused by one person, right? Like AfroMan. They're saying, hey, listen, even though we're filmed every day by auditors and by whatever, people use body cam videos online that may have the cops look crazy. They're saying they feel embarrassed by AfroMan, which I just believe that it's not gonna fly. No way.
Refuse because I haven't committed a crime. You have to have a reasonable and articulable suspicion of a crime. Don't you agree,
and I could
Deputy Dominguez?
That you could be doing this for purposes of committing a crime.
I could be doing this for...
Yeah. So there's bullshit around. Essentially, that's where the AfroMan lawsuit is going to be at. So he took the stand today. Let me see. Does he understand?
What the alleged discrepancy was, maybe not in terms of numbers.
Here's him on the stand. Here we go.
But just
sounds right.
You have a large presence on social media, obviously, correct?
Depends on your definition of large. There's bigger people than me, but I'm all right.
And on Instagram, is it fair to say that you have 247,000 followers?
Yeah, I just got some of them the other day.
You got new ones coming all the time?
Yes, not all the time, just here lately.
Because the trial's coming up?
Yeah, all the publicity from the officer's lawsuit and me is running up my numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And on YouTube, you have almost 1 million followers, 983,000. Is that right?
I haven't looked. It was 977 last time I looked.
And on TikTok, you have about 392,000 followers.
I haven't looked at it, but that sounds kind of right.
Get to the point.
You know when you post something that a lot of people are going to see it, don't you?
Yes, for tearing down my door, not paying for it, not being apologetic, me being a sport, doing something peaceful to raise the money to pay for their damages, me having the right of the freedom of speech as an American to talk to my family, friends, and fans about what the sheriffs did to my home. Yes, I had the right to my freedom of speech. After they left, I had the right to kick the can and to do what I had to do to repair the damage they brought to my house. Yes, I did.
That includes the right to post the videos that you've just been posting up until Friday and beyond, right?
Yes, I have freedom of speech. I'm a rapper. I entertain. I write fiction, comedy. Yes, I mean, I entertain for a living like you practice law for a living. So I have to go to work.
How much?
If you turn my cameras off, you must got something bad in mind. So yeah, I'm accusing them of it. You know, they turn my cameras off. I can't see what they're doing.
So your testimony under oath here today to these 10 jurors is that you brought the news when you picked up your money to protect you physically from being beat up or shot by the sheriffs, right?
Yes.
Right? All right.
And they volunteered the information that the money wasn't right. That's just an extra something we found out. But I came with my attorney and the news to make sure the people running around my house with guns didn't take me into jail and do something.
You had a safe in your home, correct?
2 of them.
2 safes.
Damn.
Did the sheriffs look into those safes, to your knowledge?
Yes, they did.
The deputies?
Yes.
And how did they get the combination?
I gave it to my ex-wife so the sheriffs wouldn't pull my safe out the floor, take it to the station and put something in it and try to say that whatever they put in my safe was mine. So I went ahead and gave my ex-wife, who I didn't want to give my combination to, it was just safer. I went ahead and gave her my combination so they could open up the safe and realize that they just vandalized somebody that don't even have nothing in the safe.
And do you know what was in those safes?
It was absolutely nothing in the safes.
Don't you keep jewelry in those safes?
No.
Didn't you tell me that in your deposition, that you keep jewelry in those safes?
I do.
Was anything missing from the safes when you got home after the search?
I didn't put nothing in the safes.
Was anything missing from the safes when you got home?
Nothing was in them, so nothing was missing from the safe.
You talked to Randy Walters on the phone before you got home that evening during the search, or right afterwards, didn't you?
Yes, sir.
He told you that they were taking some money and some vape pens and a small amount of marijuana. He told you that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I don't want to sit here and, watch this whole thing with y'all, but essentially the cops, they break down the door, they break down his gate, they are looking for some drugs. I don't know why they thought he had drugs, but they couldn't really find anything. Out of frustration, apparently they end up even breaking some other stuff in there. And not only that, when it comes to AfroMan, it definitely appears that, they tried to steal some money from him, because they said they had one set amount of money that they claimed they picked up, and then there was a different amount of money later on. And apparently they're saying that they found where the lost money was, which, okay, cool. If the feds or the government are seizing your money and then playing with you with your money, you're going to start thinking some things, right?
You knew, didn't you, Mr. Foreman, that there had been an investigation by the Claremont County Sheriff's Office into the discrepancy about the cash that was missing from your home, correct? You knew there was an investigation?
Yeah, I knew the sheriffs was investigating themselves.
Oh, that's how you saw it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And did you ever ask for a report so you could see how bad this investigation of themselves really was?
Yes, I was trying to get involved any way I can. The investigation was going on without any of my participation.
Did you ask for a copy of the report?
I did. I asked for everything. I was trying to be involved. I didn't.
So you've seen the report?
No, I have not.
Okay.
I just saw it a few minutes ago.
Okay. All right. Shout out to AfroMan. I'm going to keep updated with this trial. I do think it's going to turn out favorable for him, but, everything I've said recently look like I'm bad with bets. But I do think he has a very valid point. Why are you trying to silence this guy when he's using things that are affecting people who aren't public? Right? There's things you can do in public and things you can't. What he did by using public footage, obviously I know it was in his house, but it wasn't their house. He has video cameras. He should be able to put them out. Right?